You know the quote, like, when they came for someone else, you sat by, now they're coming for you kind of thing? So I was, like, taking the piss out of him. And then when I'm like, wait, curses aren't in the game? No, this is some bullshit, GGG. Fuck you. I wanted to use that +1 curse chest in my build. This is an outrage. How dare you fucking promote that I can have +1 curse chest? Fuck them totem boys, but curses, this is some real shit. I was so upset, so, yeah. So let's talk about the actual league mechanic. How do we all enjoy Syndicate? First weekend.
As an overall league, I think it's really good. I think they've taken a lot of steps. And they've just taken like the last year of all the different leagues and combined it into a great league. And it feels great. Look aside all the bugs and all the other crap, I think this has been a great league so far. I am really enjoying myself.
If I can do a transition.
Go for it. Very smooth. Very smooth.
Is how powerful the Syndicate members themselves are. Because I think people are underestimating the items when looking at how difficult the Syndicate members are. Like, Haku Slam is terrifying, and Elrian's Consecrated Path is nasty on NKOE maps and all that. And they're you know, nasty customers in their own right. But once they have, like, those items that give them corpse explosions or acid explosions or 100% increased AoE or all that shit, they get really scary. So whenever you get the option to remove those, if you're having trouble with the Syndicate, you should get rid of items. The Betrayal help window could be a bit more fleshed out, I think. It is still helpful. And for anyone who hasn't noticed it, if you hit the V key to open up your Betrayal map, there's a little help box there that explains things. It's sort of like a legend, basically. But yeah. Number 1 tip, remove items. Number 2 tip, kill those totems that show up in fortification missions, because those things buff them pretty hard. And they've also got good drops.
We have to get through the door first. And when you go through the door, and it's a tough map, and then 8 necros spawn that all do like 5,000 damage when they crit with their stupid spear.
Talking about the actual like power level of it all, I think we'll all agree it's challenging. I don't want them to nerf it. I think they will. Is anyone else happy with the current difficulty level?
Of the Syndicate members themselves, yes.
Yeah.
I think the Itafled and Tora might need a bit, but everything else seems fine.
Yeah, it's just that it's too much of a hard counter against a specific thing. Because like with this league, like just so I get over my thought process. So with this league specifically, every league introduces a sort of danger towards a specific type of gameplay. So like in the case of Bestiary, there was a lot more shock and there was a lot more chaos, for instance. In the case of Delve, there's like a lot more cold damage and like small hits that really wreck you, where like possibly something like armor could be more powerful. And in this case, not only did they take like, and it's also chaos damage, I suppose, in incursion, right? Or like a lot of like projectile defense and all this. In this league, it's like every one of these guys has something that counters a specific like build archetype, right? Where you can't cover your like every side of everything. And so that's totally fine as long as it's something that is well explained. So for instance, people were so freaked out that in the start I was skipping all Betrayal because I kept watching replays of people dying to like random shit, and I was just like, this is crazy. Like, how are people doing this? Like, this guy got stabbed in the foot by some Janus guy and he instantly fell over. Like, I didn't get any of it, right? So I just didn't want to die to something random, so I kept skipping it. But then eventually I started doing it and I realized, oh, okay. So Janus, he actually has like an entire animation where he puts his hands down and then the thing starts chasing you with a delay. You can genuinely just walk away from it and it's not going to do any damage to you, right? Same for like Haku slamming. It's like, oh, Haku slam covers the entire screen. Well, not really. It actually only covers like a part of something away from him. As long as you're closer to him, it's supposed to like counteract builds that are off screening. If you're closer to him, then you do better, right? Because he doesn't really deal a whole lot of damage. But in the case of Tora and I think those are ridiculous because CI builds deal with them the best, like insanely well, and then everything else gets absolutely fucked.
I'm playing in a private league. I'm softcore, 20% haste, -20 all res. This affects chaos res. Tora and It That Fled are not what scare me. And I'm playing a life-based build. I've still minus chaos res. It's not that bad.
I mean, dog, I got to 98 and I died to a door.
Well, that's because you weren't playing the game, man.
I didn't even die to the betrayal, guys.
Yeah.
Right? Like just because. But that's the thing too, right? That for instance, to me, Janus is super easy because my build was kind of like a dot build, so I just had a whole lot of mobility. But then something like Rin, that to a lot of people who actually have mitigation, you know, is easy. That thing fucks me so bad. Like I cannot, like, she off screens me, and if she has an item, it's crazy. I just saw Gucci get melted to her. So like you're going to get hard counter by these things, and in a way you can control it because you can kick them out. But like there's only so much you can do, you know?
I mean, that's a good point. Would it be, if they're going to have a really wide damage profile in the league, unlike previous ones, you know, like Incursion, where it was mostly chaos and physical and spell projectiles and such, like you went into, then maybe creating more extreme differences between rank 1, 2, and 3, like lower the damage more than it is now on a rank 1 Syndicate member, keep 3 where it is or buff it a bit, and then your choices matter even more. Like if you have difficulty dealing with someone, keep them low ranked. If your build is good at dealing with Janus, as you said, rank him up. And then you have space for people to make a second build to try and get loot out of It That Fled, or make a second build to try and get loot out of Janus for some reason or another, or probably Chimeria because he's the best Syndicate member in every branch.
What?
He gives amazing loot in like everything.
No, maybe not quite. Okay,
But he's not the best on everything.
Chimeria is my husbando. I think I said that wrong. I don't know.
One thing that we kind of skipped over, so with the inclusion of all the past leagues with Syndicate, how do we feel about the actual gameplay loop of this league? Do we like it, or do we feel like we're spread too thin? I like it personally.
I mean, you are spread really thin, but it's more about you have to make a choice, and that is good. Because I felt like in a lot of leagues in the past, the choice was forced upon you. It's like, this is how we play it. In Delve, like, not Delve, Incursion especially, like, we're doing the temples, and then we're doing the temples. And then once the temple hype is over, it's like, God, this is boring. But now there's like, so, like, I think by the end of the league, I won't be done with it. Like, even after the 3-4 months, I still won't be done with it.
But
there's just so much.
A lot of the stuff's going core though, like the master changes.
It's good.
So you'll have more than a league, Nuki. For some. Maybe Syndicate won't, but
no. I'm just saying, like, as a whole, like the game as a whole now has evolved to this state where it's like you kind of choose your own adventure, and it's like really great.
It's a good problem to have.
Yes.
To want to play more content. It's very good.
I can't remember if it was last night or the night before. I accidentally streamed for an extra hour and a half because I'm like, I'm gonna log off once I finish this. The problem is it kept procking other things. So it's like, oh, I've now got Alva spawn. Oh, now we're on the temple. And then, okay, I've now just quickly did this master mission. Shit, that procced my Syndicate. Did the Syndicate. Oh, that procced my mastermind. And it wouldn't end, and it was so perfect. I'm like, this is what I wanted. It's so good.
It really is so good. Like, I am so much happier with like even the push to 100 because you get to do different freaking things, and it's not just sitting in your hideout rolling 100 maps and then spamming them. It's like sometimes even if you clear really fast, you're gonna spend 20 minutes in a map because you're doing like 10 different things. It's like, that's so cool.
One thing I wanted to ask though, because we sort of touched on it but skipped over it, with the difficulty level, it's good that it's killing you. Like, it's good that players are dying, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good that there's challenging content that forces more well-rounded builds. It's bad when those deaths happen so suddenly to things that are difficult to see that people don't know what to fix.
I agree.
Or how to approach it better next time.
That was the problem with Invasion, really, where a lot of people compared this league to Invasion as this like imminent impending doom, someone in your map, and you're constantly on the lookout, like what's gonna fuck me next. And that was definitely the case in Invasion, and typically it would be like an off-screen one-shot from something somewhere, and you had no idea what happened. And although this happens sometimes with Syndicates, and you know, not everything is super well explained, it's definitely a lot better. And it does kind of work with what PoE, in my opinion, does really well, especially compared to other ARPGs, is that it's not like bosses have mechanics, like things you actually have to dodge inside of a map. And I think that's like really good that they're moving that outside of the boss rooms. And everybody should play them.
We can quickly touch about what do we think about instant cast skills? Recall and Vortex in general, like
it's the shit.
With a cooldown. Like for so long, people were like, no, we don't want cooldowns. No D3 in my game. And now it's like Vortex and Brand. And I feel like those are some of the greatest additions they've made to the game in a long time.
Dear God. I never fucking understood why people didn't want cooldowns and rotations and just wanted this like one-click playstyle. Especially when Vol skills were like really working well. It was so weird to me. But yeah,
well, I mean, now
think it works, right?
Now we've got pseudo cooldowns with fall skills, and we've got focus added to the game and a few cooldown skills, mostly utility ones, but one damage, one with Vortex. But yeah. we've seen a growth of a lot of cooldown skills into the game, which is cool, and also more means to scale cooldown recovery. It's a Syndicate craft now, so it's not just on shaper items.
Thing that's cool about cooldowns, and I think brands really displayed this well, that self-cast abilities can work despite the fact that like scaling should be technically a lot easier with totems and mines and traps and all this sort of stuff. And like showcasing with brands that this stuff can work and it doesn't need to be balanced around like all three archetypes. I think that's really something that I hope they continue to expand upon. Because goddamn, is it good. It's really nice.